recording is hopefully starting. Recording pending. There we go. All right, so it is now recording. So let me get started. Hello, everyone. I am Ian Sullivan. I am the theater teacher here at Hickory Ridge. If I haven't met you yet, because I know there's a fair number of you and you guys online that I have not met before. So hello, it is an absolute pleasure. I have been at Hickory Ridge. This is my 6th year. I did preschool for a year in between this and a 7-year stint in the Iredell Statesville school system at the high school, North Iredell High. So, I mean, I'm in my 13th year of teaching in the public school, but it's actually I started in 2003 with Children's Theater of Charlotte. So we're coming up, this would be my 18th year, something like that. So, yeah, I've been in the area for a little bit doing theater, and I am super, super excited because I've never had an opportunity like this. This has been an amazing, weird, crazy set of years for us. If you don't know, in 2019, our play here won at the our regional NCTC performance and went on to the state level and participated at the Greensboro state level NCTC. Last year for the Bloomies, we had a student win the Bloomies level, and then this summer he actually won the Jimmies, which was national. He competed against 35 other gentlemen from across the U.S. and was selected as the best in the nation. He and the girl who was also from North Carolina, so good year for North Carolina, were the 3rd and 4th respectively people from North Carolina to win that honor, and he is actually the first best actor to have won that honor from North Carolina. So we've had an amazing, amazing couple of years, as weird as everything has been. Right before everything shut down, I submitted tapes of the show that took us to NCTC state level to the American High School Theater Festival. And they selected us as one of, I believe it's 20 schools from around the nation to participate in Scotland's Fringe Festival. So first of all, that's super exciting. It is incredibly cool. That's, 1 out of 20. That's incredible. It's super exciting. We're going to get into what all of that means. But the biggest thing is it's a huge accolade for us, for the school, and this is really, honestly, a once-in-a-lifetime kind of chance. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to show you some videos. I'm going to show you some resources. Gonna go through this, and then that way I'll take questions at the end. I may not know all the answers. This is my first time doing a big international performance trip like this. So I've been overseas before, but never producing a show. So there may be questions that you have that I'm like, I don't know, and I will get back to you, and I'll be writing it furiously on my notepad. So we talked just a smidge about AHSTF, so that's the American High School Theater Festival. They have been doing this for 50 years. They help take schools from the US and take them to places like the Fringe Festival to help share our art with people across the world. They partner with a group called World Strides. That's who's going to be handling most of the itinerary stuff, the account stuff, all that kind of thing. And again, they've been doing this for more than 50 years. So we're in good hands with experienced people who talk with me one-on-one. Gabby Lucia is our current contact. She's shifting into another position, but they've already set me up with the other gentleman whose name has completely skipped my brain because I haven't been talking to him for 2 years, a year and a half. But yeah, so all right, let me bring up the first thing that I want you to be familiar with is my webpage. So Oh, that's not. Oh, right. Hold on a second. I'm trying to share the wrong screen for the people here physically. So let's take that again and share screen. And this one, there we go. And make sure that I'm sharing the volume. For those of you at home, I'm taking a moment to turn off the lights so that way the people that are here can see maybe just a little bit better. So I want you guys to be familiar with my webpage. If you go to the Hickory Ridge webpage and then go to academics, and underneath that go to arts, and then click on to Sullivan, that brings you to my webpage. There's a little bit about me. And most importantly on this is how to contact me. There's my email address right there, my school email or my school phone, and my extension. There's all of our social media right there. And then there's also my class schedule. So if you're needing to get in contact with me about something, I don't know, kind of like semi-urgent, just know that my planning period is third period. That's the best time to get a hold of me. If you're trying to get a hold of me and any of the others, you probably won't unless it's an emergency, in which case call the office and, you know, get to me. I can't imagine any emergencies you guys would have for me in the intervening time, but just a heads up. There's also several tabs here on the side. Just as a side note, if our calendars, we're going to post all of our show stuff. The Backstage Bulls is our boosters program. So if, as we go through here, you are interested in assisting, we definitely need it. We are down to one booster, 1.5. I think Ryan's mom is kind of in these past 2.5 years has kind of done a number on our boosters as we haven't had a lot of in-face time. So as we go through, if that's something that you're interested in, get in touch. Miss Alyssa right here is our boosters member. And don't let the word boosters scare you off. There's a reason that we rebranded as the Backstage Bulls. It is nothing at the level of like band boosters. We are not at that kind of level of requirement.
We have fun.
Yeah.
We have fun.
And more often than not, there's not a whole bunch to do that's not like show day or the day before show days type stuff. So then there's Drama Club information for those of you students that are interested. Drama Club is going to be a way that we help fundraise for this. So I would suggest that you get involved in Drama Club. And then right down here, the most important one is the Scotland AHSTF trip tab. That's going to be the most important one for you guys. So if you click there, it's got the cool logo from AHSTF and got a little blurb. It's got this information for tonight and the team's meeting link. It's got a couple of links here that I'm going to go over in just a second, but I did want to share this video from AHSTF. So I'm going to play that real big. So yeah, super exciting. That gives me goosebumps every time. Um, so yeah, the entire point of this is that we don't just go and see shows and watch stuff. We're performing. We have 4 performances at the Fringe Festival in Scotland. We get a tech rehearsal with professionals at an international level to set up in our space. Yeah, it's insanely cool what we're getting to do. We're not just talking about like a trip, to go see a show. But at the same token, we also have a trip to go see shows. There is a show in London at the West End that we'll get to select. And West End, if you don't know, is basically London's Broadway. And it has just as many, if not more, originating shows as Broadway does. It's incredibly cool. And then we also get the chance to see just some amazing shows in Scotland at the Fringe Festival because there's so many other shows going on. We can see some from the other people that were selected for AHSTF, but we'll also get to see stuff from literally across the world. So it's incredibly cool. Again, I'm super excited. So now let me share my screen with you guys again. So the Scotland Interest Meeting contact form. For those of you that are at home, if you want to do this before you log off today, for those of you who are in person, if at some point you wouldn't mind going on and clicking this, I'd be greatly appreciative. It's just sort of a quick Google form for me. It just gets your student's name, your email address, a phone contact for you, whether or not you're interested in being a chaperone, whether or not you think you will need to fundraise for this event, and then a question about the deposit. And we're going to get more into that information in just a moment. So don't worry about doing the contact form just this second. But I wanted you to know that it's there, and please make sure that you get it to me because it lets me know what my next steps need to be. Here's the big thing that I want to go through is the parent brochure. So it is, wait a page, let's just download it and make it the full screen. Open with System Viewer, there we go. Read mode. Cool. So this is the Fringe Festival. This is available to all of you guys. I'm not going to read through the entire brochure, but this is parent information for you guys. Goes into what is AHSTF, nominated, again, it points out the fact that we were nominated at a state, regional, or national level. Talks a little bit about what is the Fringe Festival. The Edinburgh Fringe Festival counts over 1 million visitors to one of the biggest arts festivals in the world. So we get to go and share in that. It was super cool. It goes on for weeks. We'll be there for 12 days. So 2 of those will be in London. The other 10 will be in Edinburgh. And then there'll also be 2 days of traveling. So all kinds of stuff. It's got a Fringe, by the numbers, 294 venues in Edinburgh participate. There are 3,269 shows from around the world that do 50,266 performances, issuing over almost 2.5 million tickets, and 49 different countries are represented. So we'll get to participate in all of that as well as go see some of the stuff from those 49 different countries. So just what we'll be exposed to is nothing that we could ever see like this at home. There's no chance to get this much different cultural diversity in shows from different places across the globe. This is really kind of the only way to ever get anything like this. So that one you don't need to worry about. The familiarization tour is something different. So technical production, we get 4 performances, 1 technical rehearsal slot. We get 1 performance on the Royal Mile. professional technical support before and during, private coach transportation, rental of venue, lights, sound, and stage components, 2 nights lodging in London, 10 nights lodging in Edinburgh, proctors for night security, breakfast daily, 1 dinner in London, 2 meals daily in Edinburgh. We get round trip airfare. We get motor coach service for airport. We get guided tours of London and Edinburgh, full day guided excursions in Scotland, 1 day London Tube Pass, that's their subway, city bus passes in Edinburgh, so we can kind of, maybe do different stuff as we want. Attendance to the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo at Edinburgh Castle, daily access to a blue badge guide, basically like an exceptional expert tour guide. An evening of Scottish dance, the closing ceremonies. There's a number that we can call pretty much any time of day in terms of setting up accounts. And then of course, once we're over there, so all of that is included. The London highlights, panoramic tour, theater production at the West End. Some of these are optional, and that's something that we can look at once we, look at who's interested and at what level we're, comfortable with. So so there's that. But again, like I said, that is accessible to you on your own time to read through. Then want to go through kind of the tour itinerary. So day 1, we fly over. We'll be flying from Charlotte Airport. Day 2, we are in London. We meet our blue badge guide. We start the festival proper. Go to London, do our guided sightseeing tour. We get to see Buckingham Palace, Big Ben, Parliament, Westminster Abbey, Tower Bridge, Hyde Park, St. Paul's Cathedral. I know, I'm just throwing cool stuff at you. Day 3, we get to do more tour stuff, and we get to go see a West End show. Again, that's like Broadway level. Day 4, we travel to Edinburgh. We have a director's meeting with the AHSTF staff and tech team, and the students have a big game night where you get to meet all of the other students, do all kinds of cool, fun stuff. Day 5, we do Edinburgh sightseeing tour. We're on the Royal Mile, Old Town, Sir Walter Scott Monument, and we have our technical rehearsal. Day 6, we have our festival, the Fringe Festival begins, and we attend a performance, and we get to do our Royal Mile group performance. Day 7, we do a group performance and we attend a performance. Day 8, we get to see Stirling and Loch Lomond guided excursion, go to the castle, have some free time, scenic drive, do a boat ride on Loch Lomond, just little things like that, Day 9, Passport to Success College Fair and another group performance. Day 10, attend another performance and get to see Scottish dancing, in Scotland, which is no big deal. Day 11, attend a performance, go to the Edinburgh Military Tattoo. Day 12, another group performance. Day 13, another group performance and a huge celebration party. And then day 14, end the tour and come home. So that's 2 nights London, 10 nights Edinburgh, Scotland. So the tour includes our airfare, all of our stays, breakfast daily, a dinner in London, lunch or dinner in Edinburgh, guided sightseeing tours, our local guides, visits to our attractions, so all the tickets to get into those places, that's included in that. Our airport transfers, the bus passes, tube passes, private coach, performances, technical support, educational workshops. You guys can apply for college preparatory credit because of this program. 1 credit is 1 credit. Networking opportunities, account representative for everything that we do account-wise, participation in marketing, so basically, advertisements for our stuff. Rehearsal space, blue badge guide, performance slot on the Royal Mile, all of that stuff. So, tour cost breakdown. Don't let the sticker shock throw you completely. We are looking at, it is $6,784. So there is an initial payment of $248 that would be due September 20th, and then 9 payments of $726. That does include a travel protection plan, so that if somebody gets sick or somebody dies in your family, not you, well, if you die too, please don't die. But if you were to, do your first 5 payments and then all of a sudden you have a death in the family and you know you're not going to be able to make it, you would get all of your money back. If you get all the way up to the day of and you've paid everything and you end up in a car accident and are in traction and can't go, you would get all of your money back. So that travel protection plan is there in place so that way, if something were to happen, you don't lose all of that money that you've put in. So what does that mean for us? It means that we need to do fundraising. We definitely know that we need to do fundraising. So I'll talk to you just a little bit about our plans for that. Let me stop sharing my screen for a moment. So our plans for that, we do in a calendar school year, we do, I believe it's 10 performances. So we do 2 cabarets, we do 2 nights of one acts, we do a 24-hour theater festival, we do our competition shows, we do an advanced showcase, we do a practicum showcase, we do our big spring musical, and we do a small musical, a one-act musical. What we're looking at doing this year is taking all of the ticket sales from our cabaret shows, our one-act shows, and the 24-hour theater festival, and putting all of that into this. So any ticket sales that we take up from those shows, we're going to spread it around everybody's account for this. We're also going to make sure that there's a donation box out for every single show that we do, so that anybody coming to see any of our shows has a chance to help us get to Scotland. We also are going to be applying to corporations for sponsorships. There's some really great information that AHSTF has given us for getting corporate sponsorships, which helps us out with things like, how do you set up like a t-shirt so that way it's our show on the front and then on the back, like corporate sponsors. It's kind of like NASCAR. So hopefully we'll be able to NASCAR it up and have a whole bunch of different corporate logos on the back of a t-shirt. So that way, hopefully, that price goes down in terms of what's expected of us in order to get there. So, yeah, that's a weird sound happening in the hallways. It sounds like somebody's beating a rat. So there's one more thing that I want to share with you guys on my webpage, and then we will take questions. So that one last thing is this World Strides sign up. A better breakdown of everything that I've got down on my webpage is on this. So if you go there, you're going to see, so sort of a breakdown of all of that stuff. And the really cool thing is you can go here to show detailed itinerary to get way more detail about every single step. And then each of these little blue things where you're like, what is the Royal Mile? You can click that and it gives you more information about it. If you're like, what's included on the Edinburgh guided sightseeing tour? Oh, wow, that's all of the stuff that's included in the Edinburgh guided sightseeing tour. So this is your one-stop shop for all of the different stuff. It goes in depth into each day, just really specific with the details. Goes back over what the tour includes. It's got a photo gallery. The photo gallery is not huge at the moment. And it's also where you would sign up. So if you're like, yep, done, got it, boom, I'm signing up, then here's where you would click to start doing that. And we'll need to have the people that are interested in doing that do that by September 20th, so that way we can sort of lock in our prices. The more people that we get, the more that price goes down as well. So this is priced currently at 15 people. If we get 20 people, that price will go down. If we get 25 people, that price goes down. So if you have more people that are interested, please, 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 send them to my webpage to look that information up. This trip is not limited to students. It can be your family, it can be friends. It does not have a limit. So if you have a little sibling that wants to come, you have an older sibling that wants to come, you have your grandmother wants to come, please, we welcome. Because again, every person helps drive that price down. Yes.
Each individual has to have their own individual sign up.
Yes, I believe so. I will double check that though. World Strides. I think you should be able to make an account for you and the people that you are responsible for, but let me double check on that in terms of accounts for student and chaperone. Cool. So yeah, let me get questions at this point.
Are you aware yet where their students will be housed at each location?
So I don't have the specifics for that information yet. Once we get our numbers set in, then we will get that information in terms of.
Do you have any idea?
So I know when we are in Edinburgh, I'm 98% certain there's a college that's there and they stay at the dorms. So in London, I believe it is, I want to say it's a hotel or a hostel. And we'll get that information once we sort of lock in. But once we're in Edinburgh, if I remember correctly, it is the college that's there in its dorms. I will double check on that. So lodging specifics. We need to have one chaperone, according to Cabarrus County, we need to have one chaperone per 10 students. So that is where we are legally required. So as it stands right now, if we end up with 15, we'll be covered because there'll be myself and Miss Evans. Miss Alyssa, I don't know why I went by your last name. So yeah.
Is there some way you're going to share or you're able to share the status of that?
In terms of what are...
Let's say, hypothetically, a concerned parent wants to see more representation of chaperones.
Yes. So if they want more chaperones, yes, to some extent, our hands are a little bit tied based on our level of participation, because of the cost. The chaperones are not paid for by the school.
Right.
So
all these parents and friends and grandmas that are coming along too.
They would need to pay.
Right, but what about when it comes to the kids and are we able to be around them and hear?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, anybody that's going on the trip participates at every level of everything that's going on. The one caveat to that would be you wouldn't be performing on stage with them, but they do permit everybody at that point to be at every single show that's happening in the audience, as well as depending on what our numbers look like, to be tech crew. So if, for example, we didn't have enough students if we had students enough to perform the show, but we didn't have a great number of students to run tech, but we had, let's say, 5 chaperones, we might ask chaperones to be backstage helping as tech.
Our sleeping arrangements.
We'd probably put you guys. We would make sure that you guys were, in rooms with your family members to make life easier, or in rooms with chaperones of the same gender. But we'll look at rooming assignments as we get closer and know, who we've got.
How many participants do you require for your planned show?
For my planned show, we could get away with 8 students. That puts us in a little bit of a financial bind because, as I said, the cost as it's locked in is considering 15, but we could make it work with 8.
What is your plan, Chef?
So what we had 2 years ago was a show called The 3 Golden Hairs that was a Commedia show. It's that big wagon over there was the focal point of that show. It is a masked-based show. Here, let me snag my mask since I've got them. I meant to put these out now that I think about it. But so it's an old Italian form of street theater where the characters all wear masks and perform. It was originally improvised. We don't go improvised because, oh goodness, I would not put high schoolers on a stage and tell them to improvise. That would be, that's asking for it. But so what I've actually written the show. I wrote the show 2 years ago, my brother and I. And what we do, we've got a couple of shows that we've done this way that have all done either honorary mentions or gone on to state level. We take like Grimm's fairy tales and we turn them into these Commedia shows. So the one that we are working on for this year is called The Enchanted Stag. We try to go for lesser known Grimm's fairy tales because then the audience doesn't know what to expect. And The Enchanted Stag is pretty crazy. So it's a comedy. It's quick, it's witty, it's super fast. It's very prop heavy and not very set heavy, so we won't be trying to get that monster to Scotland. So it's, yeah. So it's, again, it's 8 characters, and it's quick. So yeah, that's the show that we're looking to take. What the plan is we do the North Carolina Theater Conference every year, and it is a statewide competition where we have regional sites, and then you go on to the state level, and then if you win that, you go to Southeastern Theater Conference. And what our plan is to, once I've got an idea sort of who's interested in doing Scotland, I want to try to cast out of that for this Commedia show to take it to NCTC and essentially workshop it so that way we can perform it in front of adjudicators that are professionals in the region, so that way they can say, here's what worked and here's what didn't work. And they always are like, if you were to, continue working on this, here's what you should look at. And we'll actually be able to take that information and go, okay, fantastic, because we are looking at working this in Scotland. So that's sort of our game plan there, is to perform this here at this school. We'll also perform it at West Cabarrus at a county level sharing. Then we'll take it to Gardner Webb on November, 5th. Thank you. It's on the board. You're awesome. Oh, cool. November 5th. And if we win our regional site, then we would take it to Greensboro College November 16th or 18th. And then if we won there, we would take it on to SETC, which we've not done before. I tend to be like, but that won't happen. But at the same token, I thought we wouldn't have a student win the Jimmies. So you never can tell. So yeah, so that's sort of the game plan in terms of the show that we would be taking. Since what we submitted to them was the 3 Golden Hairs, I wanted to stick in that same genre, but I didn't want to redo the same show again with a completely different cast, because then they would be trying to copy what they had seen in the past as opposed to make it their own. Let me get a couple of these hands up that I see on the chat. Gianna Clark.
Hi, so I'm from your second period, but my question is, when will auditions be for this? Or so I'm just curious when auditions will be and what they're gonna look like.
So my goal is to do auditions on Thursday. I can extend that out potentially, but the sooner that we get working, the better it'll be for NCTC, since this is going to have to be all after school and not worked on in class, as is the norm for my NCTC shows. So on Thursday, what I'm planning on doing is right after school at 2:30, we're going to meet in here. And what I could do is I could also open this up on Teams for the read through. We're going to do a read through of the show so that way everybody has an idea of what the show sounds like, looks like, kind of what I'm thinking of in terms of characters. And then for the audition section, I'm going to have people I'm going to give them lines to say, and I'm going to give them like movements and stylized positions that I want them to showcase, because Commedia is very stylized. There doesn't need to be anything prepared. If you are interested in auditioning, I'm going to share my screen once more for you. So if you go to my webpage and you go to Proficient in Advanced Theater, you'll notice that there's actually a link here that says The Enchanted Stag. That will take you to a Google Doc that is the rough draft of the script as it stands. So if you would like to take a moment and read through that prior to our read through / audition, I see somebody signing in right now like, yes! Yes, that will, again, no required prepared monologue or anything like that. I'll have an audition form for you, and if you are interested in auditioning as a member of the cast, we'll do some simple, sort of call and response style stuff where you don't have to have anything prepared. And if you're interested in running tech, honestly, at that point, I'll want to have like a brief meeting with you just to sort of talk about what you're interested in terms of tech, what you would want to do, stage manage, do costumes, do lights, do sound, etc. That answer your question, Gianna?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Sydney.
Hi. Okay, so I heard you mention something about 2 meals a day provided, something like that. Is that including all meals a day, or are we expected to bring extra cash for that third meal?
That is a great question. From what I understand it is that yes, I believe it's breakfast is provided every day throughout, and then dinner is provided in London, and then in Scotland we get the choice of having dinner or lunch provided, but that third meal is not provided. So if you want extra food, if you want 3 meals, then yes, you would need to provide the cash for that third meal. I know that I personally probably will have days where I'm not doing that because, especially on those days where we're performing, I get stressed out enough as it is. I probably will not be eating 3 meals those days.
Right. Plus, some days we're busy, not enough thought goes into our hunger at lunchtime, right?
Yeah, you know how it is. You've watched me work through a show and then be like, I haven't eaten anything today. So, yeah, but yes. So yeah, the third meal is not provided. So that is an important distinction to make. Yes, is that you would need spending cash for additional meal. Is that good for you, Sydney?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Yes, Lilikoi.
So you said the travel protection covers if you get sick or
Mm-hmm.
have an episode, God forbid of COVID.
Right.
What is that? Is that?
That would be covered. Yes, and that was one of the major reasons that I wanted that travel protection plan, is because being sick is not a far-flung possibility in this day and age. So I wanted to make sure that should something happen and somebody test positive, that
One thing is we can't go to Scotland because
right.
They won't let us in.
Yes, if that whole thing cancels, we would get refunded. Yep. Let me hit on that note real quick because I didn't talk about COVID. As it stands right now, and there's no reason to think it's going to change, Scotland and the UK require US travelers to be vaccinated. So if that's something that you are not comfortable with, I wouldn't bank on them changing between now and next summer. So just do with that information as you will. I'm not going to tell anybody what they should and shouldn't do in terms of their bodies. I'm just letting you know that Scotland does say what you should and shouldn't do if you want to bring your body into Scotland. So what you do with your body is totally fine. They just are like, well, that's fine, but you can't bring it here. If you've ever traveled to the UK or, you know, had anybody, they're crazy about some of that stuff. I remember my grandparents moved to the UK and I had to watch their dogs for a month and a half and keep them basically quarantined and check them into a vet because England doesn't have rabies. So they're incredibly picky about bringing dogs over. So you have to quarantine your dogs and make sure that they've got their rabies vaccinations and like take them to a vet who basically has to write off that yes, they're still showing no rabies. Yes, they're showing no rabies. Yes, they're showing no rabies. And then you can finally send them over. So my grandparents didn't have their dogs for like a month and a half, 2 months because they had to be quarantined. So yeah, the UK doesn't mess around with that stuff. So again, like I said, there's no reason to believe that they will change that policy between now and then. They might, and that might surprise us, but I would just be aware and bank on the fact that it'll probably still be in place that way. Awesome. Any other questions? I know that was a lot of information. It's all on that webpage. And of course, you've got my email also on the webpage. So anytime you have any questions, you can shoot those to me. Email is definitely the best way to do that because that way I can read through it and take time during my planning to respond. If it's really pertinent and pressing, then I would say call during my third period using that phone number on my webpage.
I just want to add for the boosters, we are going to do heavy fundraising. Everything we can think of, we are going to fundraise so that these kids have a better shot of getting there. I'm going to prepare marketing items for our social pages that you guys can share. We're hopefully going to get a donate button. Mm-hmm. That if you do that, they'll be able to donate and it will go to your child's account. So we're really going to hit it hard. So we're going to we'll have a parent meeting for boosters. And so if you want to come, we'll discuss all the different fundraising ideas that we're going to have. So we can kind of just really get the kids there. If you want them to go, we're going to get them there.
Awesome. Any other questions? No? Sydney, did you have another question or was your hand just still up?
My bad. I actually left it up.
No worries. It happens all the time. Sometimes in the middle of class, some people just put their hands up and just leave them up even after. No. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, if anything pops into your noggin later, you are more than welcome to email me. I'm going to, I recorded this, so I'm going to put this up on that same Scotland webpage. So if you want to go back and refresh through any of this, you're more than welcome to. Or if you have somebody that you know that probably would be interested that wasn't able to be here tonight, you can point them to my webpage where there'll be this video, the other video, and all of those different links. Please just make sure that you do go to that webpage and do the contact form for me so that way I know that you are thinking about it and interested. All right. Thank you all so much. Let's stop recording.